We've already talked about how to break free from the system. We've talked about how they weakened men. Through comfort, distraction, and low testosterone, we rebuilt the foundation, the mind, the body, and the discipline that makes a man unshakable. Now that we've regained our strength and focus, it's time to move to the next level. Power. Because once a man masters his mind and his energy, he must master money. What if I told you money isn't real? That the paper you work your whole life for is just an illusion built to keep you chasing? What if I told you that every dollar in your pocket is debt, and that the system was designed to make sure you never truly own anything? We were taught to work for money, but never taught what money is. This is not a conspiracy. It's history, and today we expose it. Welcome, gentlemen. This is the channel where we talk about leadership, masculinity, and the stories that built strong men. Because when a man becomes strong, disciplined, and a leader, everyone around him benefits. So if you want to build a better future, start by learning how the system around you was built and how to rise above it. Money isn't wealth. Money is trust, energy, and control. In ancient times, gold and silver were real value, tangible, limited, respected. Paper money came later, a promise backed by that gold. But power hates limits. When governments realized they could print promises without having the gold to back them, the world changed forever. They replaced value with faith, and faith with control. August 15th, 1971, a date that should be etched into the mind of every citizen, yet it passes most of us by unremembered. On this Sunday evening, the world of money was fractured permanently. The rules that had governed global finance for decades were about to be shattered in a single, televised address. President Richard Nixon, facing a nation grappling with inflation and a world losing faith in the US dollar, stood before the cameras. Foreign governments, holding billions in dollars, were lining up to demand their gold in exchange, threatening to empty the US vaults at Fort Knox. The post-war promise of the Bretton Woods Agreement, that the dollar was as good as gold, was collapsing. So, in a move he called a temporary suspension, Nixon severed the final link. He unilaterally closed the gold window. From that moment, the US dollar was no longer backed by a tangible asset. It was backed by nothing but the full faith and credit of the US government. It was backed only by belief. This new kind of money has a name. They called it fiat currency. The word fiat comes from Latin meaning let it be done, or by decree. Money, once a claim on real value, now became valuable simply because a government declared it so. A promise, backed only by another promise. And here's the fundamental truth they never taught you in school, the secret hidden in plain sight. Every single dollar printed since that day is borrowed into existence. It isn't created as an asset, it is born as a debt. Think about that. The money in your wallet, in your bank account, it doesn't truly belong to you. It belongs to the Federal Reserve, a private central bank that is neither federal nor has any reserves. It creates this money out of thin air and lends it to the government, with interest attached. This creates a mathematical certainty. There's always more debt in the system than there is money to pay it back. The only solution? To borrow even more money into existence, to pay the interest on the old debt. It's a perpetual cycle, a treadmill you're forced to run on. Every paycheck you earn, every tax you pay, it doesn't build national wealth. It feeds that ever-growing system of debt. And with the gold standard gone, there is no limit to how much money can be created. The printing presses can run indefinitely. But this power comes at a cost, paid by you. Every new dollar printed dilutes the value of the ones already in your hand, in your savings account. It's a hidden tax called inflation, silently stealing your purchasing power year after year. This isn't a system designed for your prosperity. It's a system designed for control. It incentivizes DT over savings, consumption over production, and dependence over sovereignty. That's not freedom. That's control disguised as prosperity. They call it inflation. It's a word you hear on the news, a number that flashes across the screen, a concern whispered by politicians. But what is it really? It's a force that quietly reshapes your life, your work, and your future. To truly understand it, you have to look past the headlines and see the mechanism working beneath the surface of our economy. Most people think inflation is simply prices going up. Your groceries cost more, the gas in your car costs more, the rent for your apartment costs more. It feels like the world is getting more expensive, but that's a dangerous illusion. It's not the value of the goods and services that is rising. It's the value of your money going down. Every dollar you earn, every dollar you save is being systematically devalued. This is why inflation is a silent tax, a way to take from you without ever sending a bill, without asking for your consent. It's a wealth transfer conducted in the shadows, moving purchasing power from the hands of the people to the institutions that control the money supply. It's a tax on your savings, a tax on your future, a tax on your time. The mechanism is simple. When central banks and governments create more money out of thin air, what they call quantitative easing or stimulus, they dilute the existing money supply. Imagine a pool of water. Every drop of new water they add makes the entire pool less concentrated. It's the same with money. When they print trillions, the dollars in your bank account lose their power. Your savings can suddenly buy less. Your rent rises to keep up. Your grocery bill grows, and your dream of financial freedom slips further and further away. Let's use simple math. If you have $10,000 saved and inflation is running at 8% a year, in just 1 year, the purchasing power of your savings has dropped to $9,200. You didn't spend a dime, yet you lost $800. Now, imagine that over a decade. The compounding effect is devastating. That initial $10,000 would be worth less than $4,500 in today's terms. You worked hard for that money, you sacrificed to save it, and the system silently stole more than half of it. This isn't a new problem. History is filled with examples of governments debasing their currency to fund their ambitions. But there was a time when leaders were held accountable. After World War II, the United States faced a similar crisis. President Harry Truman, seeing prices spiral out of control, gave a speech to the nation. He didn't blame abstract economic forces. He pointed the finger directly at those he saw as responsible for exploiting the situation. He declared that any businessman who raised prices unfairly, engaging in price gouging, would face severe consequences. He said they would face jail. And guess what? Within weeks, the rate of inflation fell dramatically. It didn't fall because of a complex economic formula or a change in monetary policy. It fell because of the fear of accountability. It fell because a leader showed the will to protect the people's wealth over corporate profits. That proves something incredibly powerful. Inflation isn't a natural disaster like a hurricane or an earthquake. It isn't an inevitable law of nature. It's policy. It's a choice made by those in power, and it's a choice that consistently benefits those who print the money and those who are closest to the money printer, not those who earn it through their labor and effort. The banks, the large corporations, the government itself, they get the new money first, before it has circulated and caused prices to rise. They get to spend it at its full value. By the time that money trickles down to you, it has already been diluted. You get the leftovers. This system is designed to punish savers and reward borrowers. If you save your money, you lose. If you take on massive debt, you win, because you get to pay back your loans in the future with cheaper, less valuable dollars. This encourages reckless borrowing and discourages the virtues of thrift and patience. It keeps the average man on a treadmill, working harder and harder just to stay in the same place, earning less in real terms each year. It's the perfect invisible prison, a cage without walls, where the bars are made not of steel but of numbers and ignorance. The system thrives when you don't understand how it works. It relies on you to blame the grocery store, the gas station, or the economy, instead of the policies that are actively devaluing your life's work. Escaping this prison begins with one thing: knowledge. Understanding that your money is not a store of value, but a melting ice cube. And once you see the bars, you can begin to find the key. To truly understand the architecture of modern wealth and control, we have to talk about the man who became the world's first billionaire. John D. Rockefeller. His name is synonymous with a level of wealth that was, at the time, almost incomprehensible. But the lesson isn't in the scale of his fortune, it's in the design of the machine that built it. He didn't get there by working harder or climbing a corporate ladder. He got there by fundamentally changing the rules of the game. He didn't chase paychecks. He built pipelines, vast, sprawling systems of steel that pumped oil across the country. But more importantly, they were systems that pumped money directly into his accounts, creating immense wealth, whether he was awake or asleep. While others were trading their time for a wage, Rockefeller was building assets that worked for him around the clock. This is the fundamental divide, earning versus owning. He wasn't just in the oil business. He was in the business of building automated wealth-generating systems. Rockefeller didn't just understand oil, he understood control. He mastered the art of vertical integration, owning every single step of the process from the oil well to the kerosene lamp in someone's home. He owned the extraction, the refining, the transport, and the distribution. By controlling the entire board, he could set the prices, eliminate competition, and build a monopoly that was nearly unbreakable. It was a masterclass in strategic dominance, but his most enduring legacy of control wasn't in oil. It was in shaping the minds of future generations. Through his philanthropic endeavors, he helped shape the modern education system, a system designed with a specific purpose: to produce compliant workers, not sovereign thinkers. It was engineered to train employees who would follow instructions, show up on time, and perform specialized tasks within a larger machine they did not own or understand. He made men believe that success meant stable employment, a steady paycheck, and a pension. He sold the dream of being a valuable cog in the machine, rather than the dream of building the machine itself. He made ownership seem risky and out of reach, while obedience was framed as security and responsibility. That's the same psychology used today, woven into the very fabric of our society. The system doesn't need you broke, it just needs you obedient. It needs you dependent on a paycheck, trapped in a cycle of debt, and too busy to question the rules of the game. It needs you to keep running on the hamster wheel, powering a system that benefits its architects, not its participants. When you understand that, when you see the blueprint of the machine, you start moving differently. You stop looking for a better job and start looking for a better system. You stop trading your life for a wage and start building your own pipelines. But something is changing. For the first time since 1971, there's a form of money governments can't manipulate: Bitcoin. Only 21 million will ever exist. It can't be printed, inflated, or controlled by any central authority. It's not just a currency, it's a rebellion. Bitcoin represents the same thing gold once did: discipline and scarcity. It gives men a chance to reclaim sovereignty, to hold value without permission. It's not about gambling. It's about understanding the evolution of money. The system profits when you stay confused, but when you learn how it works, you stop being a pawn and start becoming a player. Study money, study credit, study taxes, because the man who understands money understands power. Invest in what inflation can't steal: your mind, your body, your discipline, your assets. Build systems, not excuses. Build ownership, not dependency. Financial freedom isn't about luck, it's about logic, patience, and awareness. Gentlemen, the future doesn't belong to those who complain. It belongs to those who comprehend. Inflation is a tax. Debt is a chain. Ignorance is a weapon. Understand money and you'll understand freedom. This is RYMHEYE, where we rebuild men through truth, logic, and purpose. Because when a man becomes strong, disciplined, and a leader, everyone around him benefits. Remember, real value is scarce, discipline is freedom. From gold to paper to code, the story repeats. Men who understand the rules stop being ruled. Learn the system, build assets, protect your time, and lead. Choose sovereignty over convenience, truth over comfort, ownership over permission. Takeaway: don't just listen, apply. Money isn't freedom unless you control it, Every dollar you spend or save is a choice, a vote for the system or for your independence. Stop wasting time on distractions. Start building assets, stacking skills, and protecting your energy. You don't escape the system by fighting it, you escape by understanding it. Be the man who studies, who acts, who leads. Leadership starts with awareness, and awareness starts with truth.